that and the mix of meds we're on, which I think has allowed us to, just kind of know that seizure has happened, but let us then just continue on the day. Whereas before, I would say seizures would typically impact our day, right? If we had a seizure that day, we maybe weren't going to do anything else. We'd cancel all of our other plans. And in most cases now, I feel like we just continue to move on. And we just figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think she had a seizure like right before we were heading out of town for vacation, right? Like the day
Right,
before,
and
we're
you're
like, oh my
"Are
gosh,
gonna
what do we do?
We have a
It's like,
16-hour drive, and we're like, let's just go.
Off we go.
We don't know. Let's just go.
I mean, that's going to take a lot of getting used to.
Yeah.
So from initially to where we are now, what did they tell you the prognosis of this was going to be? As far as, we know that the seizures are always going to happen, but, working towards the future, what were you expecting in the early days?
Yeah. I think we were very fortunate, or we're very intentional about finding the right doctors, because any doctor that tried to make all the broad statements about what life was going to be like, I couldn't handle it, right? I could not handle all the emotions, even if that's how life was going to be, which honestly it probably is more that for us. We are very fortunate to have doctors that don't focus on that. They focus on the here and now. Is Coral doing well today? Is she happy? Is she not in pain? We dealt with several years of a lot of pain. And so is she getting the most out of her life? And are we, again, being able to make that balance? And so thankfully, I think we've been able to find from her pediatrician to her neurologist to other specialists the right doctors for her, because there are, maybe doctors who just don't have the best bedside manner, or are very, maybe more research focused, or whatever the case, and can, everything's kind of sounds like the end of the world to a degree.
Yeah, we had one of those, right? We were at the hospital one time here, and things were rough. There were some seizures in the hospital, and a new type that came up in the hospital there too, where she just went, she's stopped breathing, and they bagged her, and a little frustrating because we knew something was coming, and we were trying to get her Tylenol to get her fever down, and we need to wait for the approval from the pharmacy and everything, and we should have just cranked it out of her bag and just done it ourselves. But anyway, things happen. Now we know. We've done that since then. Not always to the approval of the hospital, but we've done it when things are not moving quickly. And I just remember this one time that the feedback we were getting from the doctor that was attending was certainly less than optimal. It was a very negative outlook, and ultimately Coral came out of that just fine. But fortunately, and thank God for that. But it was a very negative outlook, and I think we gave a heads up to our pediatrician, or maybe he called us to kind of see how things were going. We told him what was going on, and he was in the hospital 30 minutes later, and kind of took care of things, and let us know okay, yes, that's what they're telling you. Let me give you my perspective on it. He's like, I've been in the hospital, many years as part of his practice. He's like, this is not as dire as it sounds. Let's go over this. And, again, very fortunate to have, her pediatrician, very fortunate to have, her neurologist, those two in particular. But, a whole team, everybody from the nutritionist because of her special diet to all her other specialties for having a G-tube and so on. They've all been, we've been very fortunate to find and to seek out, those doctors that kind of align their thinking and what they're trying to do for us with what we're kind of expecting. And, again, been very thankful we've been able to do that, right? So it's been good. Mm-hmm. Very, very good professional team that we have that we found to help us with Coral.
Well, and then what we talked about and what you just alluded to is what you bring to the table now from a medical expert standpoint is you've become impromptu doctors in your own terms because you know how to do all of this stuff. What has this done, this experience and Coral's medical needs, what has it done for you as your family in bringing you closer together and knowing that you have to take care of each other in ways that most families don't have to? What has this done to make you all stronger?
Yeah. Whenever, as I mentioned, I will typically get someone to reach out to me, whether it's a friend of a friend or somehow down the chain, whether it's someone whose kid is starting to have seizures or there's something in that kind of special needs, medical needs area. And one of the things I try to, give an outlook that says, likely whatever this is, it's going to help you understand what life is really all about. It always sounds corny, and you never want this to be what grounds you, but it does, right? So I think it's made us definitely stronger in our faith. It's made, hopefully, as we raise our kids, just helping have kind of that faith-based focusing on the today versus the worries of tomorrow. We're in Lent right now. There was a year where I just felt like I was always worrying about all the things that were going to come. What are we going to do when she starts school? What are we going to do when she's so heavy? What are we going to do? All of that. And I was really just caught up in the worry a lot. And so one of my friends had said, what about giving up worry for Lent? And I was like, okay, yeah, sounds great. But I did. I tried to, intentionally do that and really think about, focusing more on that day. And sometimes those days are hard and you just want the next day to come. But found a lot more kind of joy and gratitude in each day. And that's generally how I think our family tries to focus. We've gotten better about planning for the future a little bit, because for a while I didn't want to plan ahead, which was very unlike me. But now I feel like, again, I've gotten that balance. I think we know that our relationship is really important. You read like the statistics on just general, divorce, and then you add special needs in that, and it's some atrocious number because life's hard. And so we're very fortunate to have, some other things that keep us, stable. But I think we kind of try to pay attention to our own relationship. If we notice that we're not communicating as much or we're getting on each other's nerves, I think we try to kind of highlight it before it becomes a bigger problem. We are hoping to go on vacation kind of for the first time, which means leaving Coral at a respite facility, which is very scary for me, but I think I finally come to the realization that it's just something we need to do, and we'll pray that it all works out and have family around that can be around to support that. I hope that our kids, see what we do as a family, again, that we don't lose sight of them, and, to your point, always make everything about Coral, but that, they see why sometimes we say no to things or need to change what we do. So yeah, I think it's grounded us a lot. Cause it's, especially for me, I was always somebody who had, just the plans, like this is how life is going to go. This is what I'm going to do for my job. This is where we're going to, travel, etc. And, become a lot more, I guess, a little more humble in that space to say, I don't need all these things. I just want my kids to be happy and to enjoy the life that's, in front of them today, and to be grateful for it.
Well, and I would love for you to take me through on when Coral's more awake. What is the joy that she brings to the family? What is her personality like, and her communication style like? Because we know Vera's style for sure, and Eloise, there's no question how she likes to communicate. What is the joy that Coral brings?
Yeah, when she's not sleeping, and she's up and at it, she brings she's got a heck of a smile, right? So when she hears that music, whether it's her favorite song or just enjoying the music that we have on, or maybe the new song, we'll see how, hopefully she loves that one too. Her smile is kind of the first thing, and you'll see her start going, her head will start going back and forth, and that's, that coupled with her smile, are her trademark of, I'm having a good time. Sometimes you'll get some noises out of her too. We're doing our little dance party, and, you could get some fun little noises out of her, but really her smile, in my mind, the smile and her moving her head back and forth is her way of telling us that she's enjoying the moment and she's having a blast. I'm trying to think, like, other things that are, just Coral are constantly like crossing her legs, and she's a yoga Nazi, it seems like, within her chair over here. But she is more flexible than anybody, with her conditions and so on. So she's always got like a leg up, almost behind her head at times and so on. But really the joy for her from what I see is it comes out with the music. You put on some music, and Coral